Welcome back to our podcast. Today we're talking with George, myself, and our special guest,
who will be announced later.
Who's our sponsor of the day?
The sponsor of the day will be Dollar Shave Club. Why pay extra for premium razors when Dollar Shave Club has your back? For $1 a month, you can get premium high-quality razors, better than what you'd find at Walmart. Dollar Shave Club, for the men.
For the men. Okay, now our special guest.
And the ladies of the men.
And our special guest, Henry Bellard.
Yo, what's up?
Today's topic: should the government officials help aid others with visiting Chris McCandless's last spot, known as the infamous bus in the cover?
I don't think the government should do anything to help people trying to visit Chris, because at the end of the day, it's just a waste of time, and you're just going to the wilderness looking for an excuse.
I think government officials should help and assist others to see Chris McCandless's last moments, because not only will it help them understand the last few moments of Chris McCandless's and all the events that he saw and locations that he also saw, but it's also going to help people understand, this is what he went through, this is where he was at, this is the journey he made without any of this aid, Special guest, what do you have to say?
I feel like I'm halfway between allowing it and not allowing it, because at the same, on one side you get to experience Chris's point of view, and I guess as you're going on that path that he went through whenever he was alive, you kind of you see the last things he saw, it gives you it shows you more of his perspective of what was going on and everything that was going on in his life. And I feel the final stop, which is the bus where he keep that in, by the way. Keep that in. Alright, so and the final stop, which is the bus, I feel once you're done completing that whole journey and you finally get to the bus, I feel it would really hit. But on the other side, which is George's perspective on the situation, he think at the same time it is a pretty dumb thing knowing that you might die. You're going through that path knowing that you might end up the same as Chris. But people still do it because on one side it has a lot of meaning and it gives you a lot of perspective on what was happening. At the same time, you're risking your own life just to experience something that you could go live a longer life without experiencing.
And that's why the government officials will help that. They'll help create a safer path so that way people can not only see what he was going through, but they could feel that emotional impact on the fact that he didn't have help. So, George, what is your thought on this topic?
I mean, even though, you get the experience, is it really worth potentially risking your life, breaking your leg, ending up a cripple let's say Joe Swanson, right? It's not worth it.
I mean,
I wouldn't really think of any way to justify risking your life just to see a bus.
If I wanted to
see a bus, I would go to school.
I'm not gonna lie, that's actually a good point. Hold on, keep this part in. That's actually true. He took all the meaning from it, and it's because people make it seem like it has, people make it look like it has a lot of meaning and stuff. And you just said,
it's literally just a bus, right? Go to the school, look around, you'll see the bus, you'll see the kids going in it. That bus has more meaning than Chris's bus. It's taking people to their houses. What's that bus doing? Sitting there.
I mean, the reason it holds so much sympathy because it shows, it resembles a home to him. That was his only color. It resembles a home to him.
And the school buses resembled a way to home.
Exactly. Maybe it was his last effort into surviving in the wilderness because he had nowhere else to go. He had no other place, and
his house. He could have gone to his house.
But that's what he was trying to avoid.
That's true.
That's why he originally made this plan to go out to Alaska.
He didn't want to go home and all, but he's real reckless for that. He didn't take up any offers from anyone for help. He left his family without saying anything. He gave all his money to charity, which is the only noble thing he did throughout this entire thing. and he was basically an alcoholic drifter for the remainder of it. Like, at the end of the day, it's not really worth it to go to a bus. I don't want.
Actually, I think he wasn't an alcoholic drifter because he was just he was just giving a last hoorah before he actually went out. And I mean, he really didn't take any alcohol with him. I feel like he was just.
Wait, you say you went out with the hoorah?
I know,
Yeah.
but like during the trip.
Hold on. What do you mean by that?
Like,
Because like
that
he
was his
didn't
last
even.
celebration. Technically, his last
I
celebration.
mean, he didn't mean to die. He just found a berry.
Yeah,
And
like-
he was like, "Oh, I can eat this." And he and then,
That wasn't like the alcoholic drifter doesn't describe him for like some of it, but like a good amount of the story is just him in town, just like drinking, like going around, just drifting away, right?
Yeah, but
But
that
like
was,
then he gets to the wilderness where he tries to discover himself and ends up like dying because of poisonous foods, right? And it's like, all right, so he was an alcoholic drifter for this section, and he was a self-righteous person trying to find meaning in life, which is like. The only reason that I'd say that anyone should go out into the wild is if you're trying to like see nature and all that, then maybe you have a good excuse to see the bus. But if you just want to see the bus to see the bus, then I don't think you should go throughout all that hassle just for a picture.
Yeah, I mean, that's true, but it's just to people who don't know the book, who've never read the story, who don't understand what this bus means and where the impact. Yeah, they're gonna think it's just a meaningless object and they're just gonna see it. But people who read the book and understand what's the sympathy behind it, they're gonna want.
You mean me?
Yeah, the meaning, sympathy of why it's so important to them. Then it's gonna show that hey, this is important because this is where a man spent his last moments here on Earth.
And I mean, I could
Hold on,
understand
hold on,
that.
hold on. Look, at the same time, look, this is what I just thought of right now. Like, maybe the people that are also going on that journey have felt like, or have been in a similar situation, or have felt the same as Chris did in his last moments, and maybe they're taking that path to kind of find closure on, or like discover themselves.
I mean, I kind of agree with that because like Krakauer puts a lot of examples of different people that would have done the same thing, that went to the wild and experienced similar things as Chris, and that even at one point said that they might even have done the same thing if similar things happen, right? Or like the book shows sympathy for Chris that other people could have done the same thing, but like at the end of the day, it's just a bus.
Well, I mean, but you also have to think of it as like what you want people to see. If you went away, you passed away, what you want people to see and have sympathy for you and what you just went through.
That's true.
I mean, I don't want people to care, but I wouldn't want to be like this depressing figure where like anytime anyone would pass by, let's say a house, right? Let's say there was a shooting and I died because of it. I wouldn't want every time someone passed by that street to be like, oh, remember that poor kid. Like,
That's true.
I wouldn't want people to think of me as like, oh, that kid who everyone feels bad for because of that thing happening.
And then like his death, like and people taking like him dying.
Like at the end of the day, I don't want people to only care because I died.
So basically, like him dying, and that book being written about him, and people finding out like his story. I feel like his death, if people keep on taking that same path, it's gonna lead to more deaths. And
Yeah.
I feel like if he were alive and he knew that like people are going down the same path that he went through, like he wouldn't want them to, because he wouldn't want them to die because of him.
Yeah. Like he came out to find peace and then he could ruin some people's peace by them going to the wilderness, and that's probably not what Chris wanted. But I can't say firsthand because I'm not Chris himself, but I doubt he'd want people to go into the wild and risk their life.
Yeah.
And not even find meaning like he quote unquote might have.
In conclusion, I think yes, it would be a waste of money to some and a good spend of money to some also. But it all comes back to the same thing, for having sympathy for one another and having a caring affection on one another, and how y'all just have to care about each other in the end. And I hope we really answered the question, Ms. Escobar, and we will see you you're probably looking at this on Tuesday. Later.